What is up here, YouTube? Jigsaw0097 here again tonight, just bringing you another awesome movie review. This will be episode 3. I just barely started this series a couple weeks ago just because I kind of want to have an outlet so that I can discuss movies that I think are 10 out of 10 movies. So that's kind of the premise of these reviews, if you guys didn't already know. And the movie that I'm going to discuss today, I finally just saw it, guys, and I know it's a little late, but I'm talking about Logan here. Now, this is going to be the final Wolverine movie starring Hugh Jackman. This is basically his swan song to the franchise, is kind of what he made it sound like. He wanted to go out with a bang, and boy did he, guys. This movie is really, really quite an achievement. Honestly, I went and saw it, and I was a little bit divided about the ending. And just keep in mind, guys, there will be spoilers in this video. Just warn you right now. So if you don't want this movie spoiled for you, just go ahead and shut the video off right now, and then come back and watch it again when you've seen the movie. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, the ending of this movie kind of had me a little divided. And then there was also an aspect of the movie as well that kind of had me divided as well. But the more I thought about the movie, the more I just realized how genius it is and how it just needed to happen this way, honestly. They needed to find a way to kill Wolverine, pretty much. So Hugh Jackman could kind of officially be done, and then they can reboot it whenever they will. And it's going to be very weird for me seeing a new Wolverine actor, because Hugh Jackman, literally, he's the longest running superhero actor I think that we've ever had. 17 years, guys. So that's going to be very, very weird. The only person I can think of that's even close to him right now is like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. He's approaching, like, I think next year he'll have done the role for 10 years. So, but even that, like, that's still not even near as long as Hugh Jackman's done Wolverine. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, just so you guys already know, he does die at the end of this movie, and he gets killed by X-24, I think is what it's called. It's basically a clone of Wolverine. And that was another thing I was kind of divided by, is the clone of Wolverine was, at first, I thought it was just kind of like a cop-out. It was just kind of gimmicky to have another clone villain in a movie. But the more I thought about it, in this case, it's actually quite brilliant, guys, because if you think about it, it kind of is a metaphor for Wolverine facing his inner demons. You know, he has to finally fight himself, and in the end it defeats him physically, but mentally you can see that he finally gets some clarity there. And to give you just a little rundown of what's going on in this movie, this is set in the future. I think 2026 or something like that is when they said it is. So Wolverine's like 200 years old at this point, because he was born in like the late 1800s. So he's like 200 years old or something like that. He's very, very old, and he's basically waning at this point. And they explain that it's because of the adamantium inside of him is causing his body to have adamantium poisoning. So it's actually, it's like killing him, but then his power is healing it at the same time. So it's like he's not dying, but he's not like powerful anymore. He's kind of just like feeling old, and he doesn't have the stamina that he used to have when he was younger. So that's kind of where it is. And the coolest thing about this movie, and as Wolverine fans, you already know that we wanted this, is just the amount of insane Wolverine violence that they gave us in this movie. We finally just get to see Wolverine go unchained, and he just basically just murders people in full gory detail, and it's pretty awesome to see. It's really a shame that this has to be Hugh Jackman's last movie, because it's like they finally gave him the freedom to make Wolverine the way that we wanted Wolverine all along, and then now it's like it's gonna be this new, whoever they recast, he's gonna be the one that benefits from this now. So that's the only thing that's a shame. But as far as this movie goes, it was just awesome to see them go uncaged with Wolverine. and just kind of let him be unleashed. But yeah, so he's an aging Wolverine. He and Charles Xavier are still alive together, and they're in Mexico. That's where this movie takes place. And he's keeping Xavier. He lives in like this depot out in the middle of the desert somewhere. I don't really remember where, but it's like a warehouse, and then he's got like a tipped over water tower, and that's where he's keeping Xavier. He's like living in the water tower, and he's like keeping him alive. Xavier's like really old too, guys. He's like in his 90s, and he's having like, old people mental problems. He has to take medication because his telepathy can go like haywire, and he can just start killing random civilians because of the reach that he can get with it. So Wolverine's kind of like looking out for him and making sure that he stays alive for one, and then making sure he stays on his medicine so that he doesn't cause any incidents. And you can tell, like, it's really cool to see Xavier and Wolverine in the movie again together, because they already have that chemistry from the previous movies. So like you already buy it. The moment you see these two together, you just buy it, because it's like they've been around since the beginning, literally. So it's like they age together. They're the only two X-Men left, so it's really powerful in that regard. And yeah, this is a future, guys, where it seems like all the mutants are dead. The only mutants that are alive still are the mutants that have like long life. People like Wolverine, and they don't really go into a lot of them, but that's what I would guess is like mutants that live longer than others, that have like a healing ability. Or Xavier's only alive because of Wolverine, so he should technically be dead if you think about it. Magneto, they don't mention him at all, so he's probably dead in this timeline. Who knows? But yeah, the new premise is actually there's a company that's making mutants, so they're actually taking mutant mutant like DNA, and they're like making their own mutants. And that's where X-23 comes from. This is this little girl that they run into, and you find out that it's actually Wolverine's daughter because they used his seed to create her. And so that's the coolest part of this movie. I think the strongest element is the relationship between Wolverine and the little girl, because surprise, surprise, the movie goes on and Xavier ends up dying, so Wolverine is left with nothing. Like, literally, he has like a mental breakdown when this happens, and he's left with just the girl. And this happens when they introduce X-24, which is the clone of Wolverine. They're being helped by this like farm family, and then they just get murdered brutally. And that's kind of where I was like iffy at first, because it kind of went into like slasher movie territory, honestly, in this scene. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It went really dark really quick, and this is an R-rated movie, so I expected that, but it was like a little too dark all of a sudden. Like, it was going down this road of like, okay, this is gritty and violent, but then it went like full on dark mode. So you guys will either like it or hate it. I mean, I've made my peace with it. I think it's actually a pretty good decision, because killing Xavier was a very gutsy move, to kill him before Wolverine, and then to have a clone of Wolverine be the one that does it. And it's almost like Xavier kind of thought that it was Logan that killed him in the end, and that's just kind of heartbreaking if you think about it. And then also, like I said, because now Wolverine has to face his inner demons, and he has to basically fight himself manifest in physical form. And this clone is a lot younger than him, so there's a scene where they get in two fights in the movie, but the first fight they get in, Wolverine gets messed up really bad, and since his healing factor is diminishing, he's basically screwed for a big portion of the movie. And so yeah, like, the strongest element I think is the little girl, and like I said, because Xavier dies, it makes that connection bigger. Her whole plot is she needs to find her friends. She had several friends that were in the lab with her when they were all created, and so she's trying to get to them, and then they eventually find them in North Dakota, is what it says. and they call the place Eden. And so they find them finally, and they have this serum that can actually accelerate your mutant powers. So they end up giving Wolverine this serum, and that's what kind of brings him back to life a little. And it leads into the end battle of the movie. I don't really need to talk much about it other than Wolverine dies to X-24, and it's a pretty powerful moment because, you know, it's kind of like a send-off for Wolverine. The final thing I want to talk about is the villains. The villains they're like basically mercenaries from this lab, and typically villains like this don't work for me, especially in a movie like this. But they did so well with these villains that I honestly think that it just completely worked, and it just made sense to do it this way. I couldn't think of any other way they could have done it, honestly. The only other thing they could do is like maybe have like Sabretooth in there, just to have like a cool little violent fight between him and Wolverine. But yeah, the villains are great. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of my review, guys. I thought this movie was excellent, and I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because I really do think that this is easily one of the strongest Marvel movies we've ever had, and like the Marvel movies are amazing. So for me to say that, and this came from Fox too, it didn't even come from like the studio, Marvel Studios, the one that makes the good movies. This came from Fox, so it's really cool to see that Fox is now allowing this kind of stuff to happen. And I feel like Deadpool helped with this. Deadpool proved that you can make a really good movie on a low budget and have it R-rated, and it will sell way past what you think it will. And it also proves that studio interference just needs to stop. People need to stop. Studios need to stop interfering with directors and writers and just let them create the stories that they want to make, because they're fans. That's why they create stuff like this. They're already fans like us, so it's like they're gonna make it the way that we would want to make it, or the way that they would want to make it. These studio executives don't really understand what we want, because they probably don't know the source material. So but yeah, Wolverine was basically allowed to be made the way that the director wanted, and I'm sure Hugh Jackman wanted. I read that Hugh Jackman did take a pay cut to do this movie, so you know that he was serious about this being the best possible way he could end his time as Wolverine. And who knows, maybe he'll come back as Wolverine. I still have my fingers crossed. I mean, I read some things where Ryan Reynolds is like really bugging him because he wants him to be in a Deadpool crossover movie at some point. So I mean, if Hugh Jackman came back for like cameos even, I would just love it. So yeah, that's kind of my review, guys. 10 out of 10, like I said. This is a must-see movie, similar to John Wick 2 that I reviewed last time for my theater movie. I say you should go out and see this immediately, like as soon as you can. It's definitely worth the price of admission, and I will be buying this on Blu-ray as well. It's that good of a movie. So anyway, guys, this has been Jigsaw0097. What did you guys think about Wolverine? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think that maybe it wasn't as good as you thought it would be, or was it even better than you thought it would be? I mean, whatever your guys' opinions are, leave your comments down below. Like I said, this is going to be my awesome movie review series, so expect more movie reviews from me in the future. And as always, guys, I appreciate you for checking out my stuff. If you liked this, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.